today? My name's Eric. As always, I want to thank you for coming by and checking out my video today. On this episode of Smo'King, I'm going to show you how to make smoked Guinness and Irish Cheddar Macaroni and Cheese. Boy, that's a long sentence. Okay, you know what? My daughter, her favorite things to eat is macaroni and cheese. I'm going to kick it up a next level because we're going to add some very strong Irish Cheddar Cheese, this Kerrygo Dublender. We're going to make this bread crumb coating on top, and then of course we're going to, after we mix it all together, cook it for an hour or so on my smoker, absorb some apple wood. It's going to be absolutely delicious, and it's not very hard to do. You just need a few ingredients. So stick around. I'm going to show you how to do this step by step. Let's get cooking. Okay, the first thing we did is we boiled a pound of macaroni noodles, but don't cook them all the way. You want to do it...
Follow the package direction and make it like just al dente, barely.
Yeah, you know, like a minute or two less than normal, because we want them a little bit on the hard side, because they are going to cook for around an hour and probably bubble a little bit in the smoker, and we don't want to turn them to mush.
Now, if you're going to make this recipe and not use the smoker, you'd go ahead and maybe just make it normal.
So now we got a saucepan here that we're going to melt some butter, and I'm going to put all the specific measurements down in the video description. But we're going to start by melting some butter over medium heat, and then we're going to add some flour, basically making a roux here to thicken up this mac and cheese. So how much butter was that?
So the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons, and we put 3. If you do an extra tablespoon of butter and an extra tablespoon of flour than the recipe calls for, it'll make a creamier mac and cheese. The sauce is kind of thin, so this is going to make it just a little creamier. But if you do add add butter, then make sure you add the same amount of flour. It's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay, so we'll wait till this melts. We'll be back in a second. Okay, so as you can see, we melted the butter. Now we're going to add
3 tablespoons of flour, since we put 3 tablespoons of butter.
Yeah, you want to keep those ratios the same.
And I wouldn't go above 4 at the most. I would do 4 tablespoons of each, but if it's too thick, you can always add milk to thin it out later, you know? So, but if it's too thin, there's not much you can do. So it's almost better to do 3 or 4, but don't go past 4. Then it's going to be just a mess.
So we're going to wait until this is kind of mixed good. You don't see any more dry flour.
It's like a roux.
And then when that's done, we're going to pour in the Guinness beer. Okay, and we're only putting in, 2/3 of a cup of Guinness beer. We're using the Guinness stout.
Oh, that looks good.
Okay, we're going to, the half and half.
And milk.
And milk. Oh yeah, milk and half. Yeah, you mix it together.
I put them together.
Okay. And then we're going to do salt and pepper. We've already pre-measured all this. And then, of course, some Dijon mustard. And then we're going to just kind of heat this over medium heat. Get it up to a simmer. We're going to keep whisking it. And we're going to keep whisking it. Let it thicken up slightly. Probably going to take 3 or 4 minutes to kind of come to a simmer and kind of start to thicken up a little bit. All right. So we'll keep stirring this. We'll be back in a second, show you how it's supposed to look like. Okay, it's starting to come to a simmer. We've been whisking it. Now we're going to add some cream cheese.
Cut up.
Cut up in the smaller pieces to help it kind of dissolve. And then we're going to add 2.5 cups of that Irish cheddar.
Oh, and it smells so good.
And we're just going to keep stirring this until it thickens up, until all this cheese...
I'm doing it the wrong way.
All this cheese gets incorporated.
I'm a lefty, so I'm doing everything backwards on the camera.
All right, that looks good. All right, so just like keep stirring this.
Oh, Mom,
this
looks good.
Let it sit over low heat for a few minutes, because we want this all to be nice and warm and melted, so when we pour it in with the mac and cheese, it can incorporate well. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, here we are. It's all completely melted. It's nice and warm. You see how thick it is now.
And that's because I added that extra tablespoon of flour and butter.
Now we have a pound of macaroni noodles sitting in a pan. We're going to pour this on top. Be back in 1 second to show you that. Okay, here's our macaroni noodles. We're going to pour that cheese mixture on top. And then we're going to give it a good stir.
Is it fogging up the lens?
No.
Okay, good. All right.
We just want to make sure this is all incorporated. So spend a minute or two mixing it up real good. And then I'm just going to pour, since I'm going to cook this now for around an hour or so on my smoker outside, I'm just going to put it in one of those disposable foil pans. But you can also pour it in a casserole dish and cook it in your oven. Whatever's if you don't have a smoker. So just like that. Look at that.
All right.
We'll pour this into the pan in just a second. Okay, so here's one of those disposable foil pans that you can pick up at the store. Here's our mac and cheese. Now I'm just going to kind of pour that in the pan. Make sure you get all that liquid. Oh yeah. Sorry if I blocked the camera a little bit. Now obviously just kind of even it out in your pan. And we're going to make a breadcrumb mixture that we're going to put on during the last part of the cook. We don't want to put that on right now. Okay, just like so. And now we're going to sprinkle a little bit more cheese on top. Because who doesn't like their macaroni and cheese cheesy? I'm just going to sprinkle it like this here.
I wasn't sure how it was going to like mix, like with it having beer and Irish cheddar, but it smells amazing.
So there you go. I'm gonna go fire up my smoker outside and we'll throw this on in a second. All right, here's that wonderful mac and cheese. I'm gonna put it here in the bottom shelf of my smoker. I'm also smoking a bacon wrapped pork loin. I'll leave a link below if you want to watch that video. But this is my main focus here right now for you guys. All right, probably around an hour. I had it in the fridge for a little bit so it's cooled off. I wanted to give it as much time as possible. 225 to 250. All right, we'll be back. It's been around 45 minutes for this mac and cheese. Let's take a look at it. Let's take it out so you guys can get a real good look at it. You can tell it's taking on some smoke, but it's not quite there. I want to get it a little bubbling. So another 15-20 minutes. We'll be back. It's getting dark out here. Hopefully I'll be able to show you one more time before we go inside. Look guys, since I had to buy a 6-pack of this for the mac and cheese, that's what I'm going to drink. And this isn't the regular Guinness, this is the extra stout. Gets it a little bit stronger, 5.6% alcohol. But this is what bothers me, 11.2 ounces. You buy a 6-pack, you expect there to be 6 12-ounce bottles. So that part I don't like. But I needed it for the recipe. It seems like all the imports now are like that. Now most of you guys have had this, so I don't really have to explain it. If you haven't had a Guinness, yeah, it's a completely different type of beer. Very creamy, stout. I mean, and they're probably, you know, obviously they're like the leader for this type of beer. Guinness is, you know. Cheers, as always, guys. I appreciate watching my video. Oh yeah, this is definitely got a little bit more taste to it than the regular Guinness. Oh, but it's good. Extra stout. It says intense, characterful, and bold. Extra stout is the pure expression of our brewing legacy. Bittersweet with subtle hints of hops, dark fruit, and caramel. This stout is a testament to great brewing. Yeah, I like it. World famous for sure. Alright guys, that mac and cheese is soaking up some apple smoke out there. I'm gonna enjoy this beer. We'll get it inside, check it out in just a minute. Cheers. Alright, look at this. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna take it inside. We're gonna put on a little coating, some breadcrumbs and some other things, and I'll just like broil it in the oven for a few minutes just to kind of get it crispy on top. Meet you guys inside. Okay, now we're gonna make a little bread crumb, garlicky.
It's just a breadcrumb topping. Don't complicate it.
Well, yeah, but
it's a breadcrumb topping.
So we're gonna melt some butter. So to that melted butter, we're gonna add some minced garlic.
So it's either gonna be like 2 teaspoons of minced garlic if you buy it like already minced, but if you're gonna do fresh cloves, do like 2 to 3 cloves. I'd say 1 clove is like equal to a teaspoon. So I'd do about that much. That's
Okay.
2 teaspoons. We cheated. We bought it already minced.
Saute this a little bit.
And then we're also at the same time, let's just add this now too.
Okay.
We're gonna add we added a half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. Make sure that the panko, they're a little more crisp.
Okay.
So there you go.
Stir that around, get it to absorb some
You
of
want
that
it to
melted
brown,
butter.
basically.
Yeah. And this is what we're gonna put on top of the mac and cheese. We'll be back in a second. All right. So here it is. We just removed it from the heat. Now we're just gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste.
Yeah.
And then what's that? And some chopped parsley.
Oh yeah, some fresh chopped parsley. So there's some salt, there's a little pepper. Then we have our Italian parsley that we just diced up to put in there. And there you go. Oh my. And it smells really good.
All right.
All right, let's top this puppy.
Okay, so now we just take this topping, sprinkle it on top.
And it smells so good.
All right. We'll scoop this out, have a sample, just a second. Okay, here we are, just scooped out with that topping on top. We'll give this a sample in just a second. Welcome back. I'm here with my wife, Monica.
Hi.
All right, come on. Let's try some of this.
It smells good.
Ooh.
I can smell the topping. Oh wow.
Can you taste the smoke?
A little. Not as much as I thought
It's
I
like
would.
the
But it's
outside's
good.
crispy, the inside's kind of
Do you taste a lot of
little
smoke?
creamy. A little bit.
I mean, it's good. I don't taste, well, that's
It's
good.
like
I thought
the-
there would be too much smoke.
It's like the noodles on the top that got a little crispy from the smoke,
But it's good.
but the inside's very creamy. You taste the Guinness beer?
A little bit with the cheese. It's so good.
Yeah, it's not your normal sweet kind of
That's addictive, actually.
mac and cheese. Oh, this is good.
It is really good. Oh, this could be trouble. I could eat a lot of this. That breadcrumb topping gives it that extra flavor
Yeah, it's very
and
good.
texture.
As always, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. If you like it, please hit the like button. The little logo on the bottom of the screen, if you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel, which I would greatly appreciate. And thanks for stopping by. Check out my website, ericsmokingbbq.com. I'll leave a link above and below. We'll see you next time.
Bye.